with the draft going on, and of course, Jameis Winston being the rock star that he is on tonight, I want to go back and talk about something that came up last week, and I think is relevant to a lot of college football players. In fact, I played, and joining me now, the captain, Kerry Rich. He played basketball at the highest level. Jameis Winston, Gruden, and all the guys he talked to, that whole draft process, captain. And he finally came out and said, when you talk about the crab legs at Publix, people said he stole them and all this stuff. He came out and said, hey, I got the hookup. So tonight in our sports blog, I want to talk about, is there such thing in college sports as the hookup? And if so, is it wrong?
Of course there's such thing as a hookup. And whether it's right or wrong, obviously, whenever you're taking part in something like that where you're not paying for it, it's certainly not right. But I think we all are in a culture where we kind of do things under the radar sometimes. We do things that go against the grain. And when this topic came up last week, I was on radio. And the one thing I tried to do, I certainly wasn't apologizing for Jameis Winston's actions. He has to deal with those, and that that's going to be subjective when it comes to how you want to perceive that. But I tried to offer a perspective based on our experience as student athletes, our experience when it comes to being stars of the team. So right. It's normal. I think it's part of the culture, regardless of whether it's at South Carolina, whether it's at Clemson, whether it's at Florida State. Hookups happen.
Right.
Is it right? No, it's not right. But they happen, and it's because this is what happens when you're the star. People want to align themselves with you. People want to associate themselves with you. So you are going to benefit. You are going to receive preferential treatment. Of course, the NCAA is trying to do away with it. But how difficult is that going to be? You're talking about having to manage every single thing that takes place on campus. And when I offered the perspective, Pastor, so many people thought I was apologizing for his action or I was excusing his action. And that's what happened. When you make an assertion, when you offer an opinion that goes against the norm or that goes against the popular opinion, so to speak, it's going to be met with criticism. It's going to be met with scrutiny. It's going to be met with so many other of the other things that go along with saying I'm right, you're wrong.
Right.
So I found that to be very, very interesting. But it doesn't change it because I'm only offering you a perspective that not someone told me, but we actually live when it comes to that culture and how the hookups really occur.
Well, they happen all the time with athletes. And of course, you go back to Ohio State, you go back to the tattoo situation, even this year with Todd Gurley, selling his jersey and all that kind of stuff. So, these things happen. You're not going to be able to stop it. Jameis Winston probably said, hey, you know what? I'll take the charge here, so to speak. With the crab legs, because I don't want to put the school in a position. I don't know why now he came back to change his mind. But, being with the draft tonight, it turns out with his interview process and the teams that he met with, it didn't change their mind because they looked at the bigger picture. Jameis Winston, the leader of that locker room. Jameis Winston, the leader of the team. He can throw the football. He's crazy athletic. And I think he's a good kid that coaches know, like we're talking about right now, that these are childish, kind of dumb mistakes that kids made. We can go on and on about this, but these things happen. We've seen it with our own eyes, no doubt about that. But it did not affect what people thought in the NFL of Jameis Winston because now, as we like to say, he's on to the cheese line in the National Football League. Appreciate the captain joining us. Of course, we'll have more of this in overtime coming up after Watch Fox News at 10. That's going to do it for sports. We'll come back, wrap things up here in just a moment.